Plaintiff Victoria Fisher manages an apartment for her mother, and the defendant was a tenant in that apartment. Victoria claims the defendant is often in abusive relationships with criminals, and Victoria evicted her after the police found meth pipes in the apartment. Victoria is suing her today for unpaid rent. Defendant Jill Foster says she and Victoria bonded because they were both dating abusive drug addicts. Jill insists she was never arrested on drug charges, so she's countersuing Victoria for slander.
Start with you.
Jill moved into my mother's apartments in 2014. We became friendly, and then 2015 I became the property manager. During that time, though, Jill would confide to me about her boyfriends, about how they were physical and abusive and drugs, and how they push her around, take her car, take her money.
You said boyfriend.
Right.
There was only one.
More than one?
Well, she had several in jail that she would date and call, and then they'd get out and she'd go. She actually is dating her ex's cellmate, and he's in jail right now.
Okay, but abuse, that's what you were telling me about.
Yeah.
All of them physically abused her and stole from her?
As far as I know, yeah.
What do you mean as far as you know? She tell you or she
Yeah,
didn't?
she told me that she did, that they would take her money and that's why she couldn't pay rent.
All of them?
Pretty much all of them that she had. They would confide to me about her boyfriends, about how they were physical and abusive and drugs, and how they push her around, take her car, take her money.
You said boyfriend.
Right.
There was only one.
More than one?
Well, she had several in jail that she would date.
Plaintiff Victoria Fisher rented an apartment to the defendant, but she claims she was forced to evict the defendant after the police found meth pipes in the rental unit.
Did all your boyfriends abuse and steal from you, as she said, and did you tell her that?
Let me make it clear that there was only one boyfriend. And I did confide, talk to her because she confided in me about her ex-boyfriend that was abusive and in drugs also.
He beat her?
Well, I noticed at one point in time she was driving down the alley trying to get away, and he was following her, running after her, hollering obscenities, and it kind of made me fearful. I was really worried about her.
Did she ever see you being abused?
No, she is not.
Okay. Is
Yes.
that what happened? You got chased?
No, I didn't. I don't know
She's making that up?
what she's talking about. My abusive relationship was 12 years ago.
All right. So she's making that up?
Right.
All right. And she says you're making up more than one boyfriend. So let's move on. What else you want me to know?
Basically, she would use that as an excuse not to pay rent, that they took her money for drugs and stuff like that. So.
All right. And why don't you tell me about your tenancy there?
Well, first off, we were not really friends. We had similar situations with the ex-boyfriends being into drugs and abusive.
How recent did she say she had this abusive boyfriend? She says it was 12 years.
No, because there was the guy that she had lived with in the upstairs apartment that was trying to come around, collect rent and everything, and he was the one that stole her vehicle at one point in time and wrecked it.
All right. What else was the tenancy like living there? Was the property kept well, or everything else was fine?
Not really.
Okay.
There was mold in pretty much all of the places, because I've been in just about every apartment in there, doing work for her, like painting and cleaning, changing the carpets.
You did that work?
Yes.
Okay.
I trimmed trees that hung over the driveway.
Okay.
Cleaned the eaves out around the building that were probably never done.
She asked to do that stuff to pay off rent.
All right. So tell me about the rent you're suing for.
She owes from January 1st of 2016 to August 2016. It was $3,080 that I'm suing for.
Okay. Why'd you let her stay 8 months without paying rent? That's highly unusual.
Because I was friends. I knew her situation. She had gotten sick with some kind of illness that she couldn't go around people and wasn't getting any healthier. I did ask her several times.
Her income changed?
Yeah, her income changed.
Okay. And she told you that?
Yes. I had asked her to go get help and she refused.
Go get help for?
Through the trustees, they'll pay some of her rent and to get on food stamps and stuff like that, and she wouldn't.
Why did she tell you she won't do it?
Because she didn't want to sign a new lease, because the people would want a lease signed for that year. She didn't want to be...
The people whose property you were managing, or
yes.
the new?
She
okay,
didn't
so you said, well, don't pay me the money, and you'll be all right for 8 months. What I'm saying, you're not making sense. If you say, you told her, here's a way to pay rent. She says, nope, don't want to use it, because I'll have to sign a lease with you. You say, well, all right, don't sign a lease with me. Matter of fact, you only had to pay for 8 months. You let her stay there. That's what I'm saying doesn't make sense. If someone tells you they will not pursue the avenue that you have given them to pay you, seems like you say, okay, I'm going to have to evict you. I've given you a way out, and you still don't want to pay me?
Plaintiff Victoria Fisher rented an apartment to the defendant, but she claims she was forced to evict the defendant after the police found meth pipes in the rental unit.
What happened when the eviction came?
Usually I had work to do, so I'd let her do the work to stay. But on June 29th,
what did you mean by that? You let her do the work to stay?
The work she was talking about. If people would move out, I'd let her clean the apartments.
Okay.
I was looking into hiring someone to do the lawn. She said she would do it.
Okay.
Just stuff like that around that.
And what happened?
On June 29th, I had stopped by the apartment of 2016. I had stopped by the apartment and the cops were there. She flagged me down, wanted me to stay. She had told the police officer that she wanted a no trespass against a guy friend. So I went ahead and did it. And the guy friend then accused her of having drugs in the apartment. And so the cop went ahead and searched her apartment with her permission. He found 7 meth pipes. He found several in her cigarette case, and he found one under her purse. He later then showed me, and then I went and filed for eviction.
All right, because of the drugs.
Right.
All right, let me hear from you.
Your Honor, I have never been convicted of a drug charge.
Were you
ever.
charged?
I have the paper.
I'm sorry?
Were you charged?
No, sir, I wasn't. Never a drug
Paper
charge.
right here.
Paraphernalia charge.
Paraphernalia, but I have not been
You
charged
were charged
with
with paraphernalia?
I was not charged with that as of this point, no.
Okay.
And I don't know where she gets off saying meth pipes. There was no meth pipes. And she is taking that back to the ex-boyfriend.
Tell me about the rent.
It was an agreement that I would work off that since I wasn't working due to my illness.
All right, and that's what you said, ma'am. So how much credit did you give her for working?
I took off her past due balance from 2015. I know you.
When did you
Remember
move?
very
When did she
much.
move in?
2014.
Okay. And you worked up until what point? When did she stop working for you? Do you know when you stopped doing work for her?
Probably April.
April of what?
2015.
15?
Yeah. 2016. 15.
Well, I thought this was just
15?
for 2016.
She didn't do any more work as of April of 15?
She may have mowed once or twice.
Okay, mowed the lawn once or twice. That's all she did for over a year?
Yes.
And so you let her stay for free for 8 months, even though the exchange was at some point she'd do work, yet she hadn't done any work for you for a year. You recall the last work you did and when it was?
Your Honor, the last work was right before I was evicted out of there. There was a little old lady that moved into the apartment up front. I started out cleaning that place.
When was that?
It, maybe a month before
All right.
I was
A month
evicted.
before you left, you cleaned an apartment?
Yes.
All right. Is that true?
No, because I had to go back in and clean it.
Any evidence from you?
I do have.
What do you have? And you're countersuing for defamation. Let's see.
Yes, I have this right here. The court papers originally from, like it says right here, the reason why she's wanting me out.
That's all you have?
No, and I also have this.
Past due rent. Drug
This
charges
says-
is one of them. She wanted you out for both. Go ahead. What else you have?
This says that it's rent paid with a 0 balance.
All right. This purports to be a receipt from you, ma'am. This says rent paid.
No, it's P with a dot and a D. It's past due is what it stands for.
No, let me see what you're looking at. Now you, ma'am, now you're really playing with my intelligence.
No,
It is
Your
very
Honor, I'm
clear
not.
that says PD, rent paid. Your claim is dismissed, and with regard to your defamation, you were charged. You lied and said you weren't. I'm looking right at the charges. Have a good day, both of you ladies. Bye-bye.
I don't allow it in apartments, and I evict people when they do it.
Honey, I
Any
could
kind.
take a drug test for you right now, and I bet I will pass it.
You still had the pipes in your
No,
possession.
no, I don't have. And if I was one person using, don't you think there would only be one pipe? Why would there be so many?
I don't know.
That's,
I don't do drugs.
That was planted by the police.
Okay.